Sylph Radio News with Saugr Aelfgard. This is the 24th of winter, first year. Winter has finally come to the Sovereign Charter, bringing a close to what has been a turbulent autumn. Last season saw a record number of nations joining, with over 85 nations signing up to the Sovereign Charter. The region has swelled with international activity, with no less than 10 major events taking place. The Council of Rebirth has recently met and has made a number of important decisions. The Council has decided that the Recruitment Committee, after a highly successful recruiting season, is to be reduced to allow for the new members to establish themselves within the community. The Recruitment Committee have announced that they are pleased to have contributed to the success of the Sovereign Charter. There was also a move to renew the Sovereign Charter's flag, with some calling the current flag outdated and clunky. The Media Committee has been asked to come up with a new design, and it is predicted that the proposed design will be put to a regional referendum. The Foreign Affairs Select Committee was renamed in line with its goals and purposes to the International Relations Development Committee. Councillors are hoping that the new name will not only encourage more to sign up, but also help to give greater coverage to the IRDC's role. The first new councillor in several weeks has been appointed. Fresco Islands, who also manages the Retro Flashback radio station, has been reported to be very pleased with the appointment. The numerous autumn events began with an alleged sabotage of a nuclear reactor in Vermandois, causing widespread chaos and almost triggering an all-out war within the region. The rising tensions between Aurelia and Vermandois even threatened pulling neighbouring nations such as Servidas and Ibex. Tensions are still stretched as the Sovereign Charter changes seasons to winter, as nations have flocked to assist the Vermandois with humanitarian aid. Nations around the region have also been hosting banquets and parties in the hope of drawing the famous and powerful to develop significant political and economic relationships. Some nations have even been trying to form economic alliances, or diplomatic events throughout the Sovereign Charter have been well attended. The most notable event recently, however, is not the Economic Summit or the diplomatic events, but Kudalia's space program. The Kudalian government has been reluctant to give out any information or press releases on the matter. It is understood that nations, notably the Great Anvils, have been sceptical at the purposes of such a program, expressing concerns over the costs. Some analysts have predicted the costs of the space program may rise into trillions of dollars. In economic news, the Free Trade Alliance hosted by Reich Kust have been moved from informal discussions to working on a full international treaty. It is expected that the treaty will be finished before spring. Aurelia has been attempting to garner more physical securities for the shipping routes by proposing a unified task force. This move for an international task force could be a decisive matter with its relations with Vermandois, as Aurelia seeks to secure its economic future. The Aurelian government has strongly denied that their suggestion has anything to do with the Vermandoisian tensions. The Vermandoisian government, however, has responded to the latest developments by accusing Aurelia of trying to create a Cold War environment and has threatened to seek an alliance in order to combat the perceived threat. In more recent news, there has been a worldwide surge of nationalism in many countries. Citizens from Arstotzka to Meraxia have been calling for expansion, taking on a new imperialist agenda. With the world still tense from the Vermandoisian-Aurelian dispute, it is unclear how governments around the world will address this trend. Nevertheless, the rise of patriotism is likely to define the topic of news for months to come. In sporting news, the Gemini Games has seen a dramatic turnaround in the semi-finals, with Meraxia losing out to Vermandois 10-13. This is a bitter blow to Meraxian athletes, who were counting on their sporting prowess to put them through to the final. Sporting commentators around the world have been stunned by the defeat, with some calling for an independent review. From the second block, Hajamishu took the victory as expected and is now the solid favourite to win the finals of the Gemini Games. This has been Sylph Radio News with Saugr Aelfgard. Thank you for listening.